Proverbs 15, 1 through 33. Devotional focus verse. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors they are established. Proverbs 15:22. As I stood nervously outside the door of our state assemblywoman's office, the leader of my advocacy team nudged me and gave me a last-minute reminder. We've traveled all the way to our state capital to have a few moments to speak with our elected representative about the importance of education. Don't make her feel like you are wasting her time. Choose your words wisely and speak from your heart about the needs of our college district. The assemblywoman's door opened, and our group of 5 entered her office for a half-hour meeting. The minutes flew by as we shared our concerns about some upcoming legislation she had to vote on, and she asked us about the needs of our local community college district. When our advocacy team discussed our experience afterward, we were elated with how well the meeting had gone. We had prepared for several days prior to our visit, and we felt that our preparation had paid off. We thought that our well-chosen words had an impact, and we were proud that we could play a part and have a voice in our state's political process. In short, we had experienced a Proverbs 15:22 moment. We had been among the multitude of counselors for our assemblywoman. Solomon recognized the importance of consulting with knowledgeable people, and that there is gain in combining expertise, experience, and perspectives. This is true at both an individual and a corporate level. However, this is especially true in spiritual matters. When we face a spiritual dilemma, seeking the advice of godly people can be helpful. Similarly, we want to be godly ourselves so that we might be able to help others. Riding the Amtrak train home from our state capital, I realized that as Christians we have many opportunities to speak up for the Lord and for our Christian faith, and we should take these opportunities more seriously than giving input to a political representative. Every conversation we have, whether with a state assemblywoman, a co-worker, a young child, or a stranger on the street, is fraught with importance when we consider that souls are at stake and we want them to make decisions that lead to eternal life. We want to speak words that will help them make right decisions. Background information. Continuing Solomon's Proverbs with his practical and wise advice, today's text is the last of the grouping, chapters 10 through 15, where most of the verses show a contrast between the righteous and the wicked. Although there are several themes in this chapter, a major one is the importance of good words. In verse 4, a wholesome tongue could also be translated as healing words. Perverseness has been defined as viciousness and as deliberate lying. The word disperse in verse 7 means diffuse, and also to winnow, and to search out, to investigate. Solomon was showing that wise people discern between the beneficial and the meaningless or unnecessary. They only say what is edifying and helpful. Not many of the Proverbs specifically address worship, but verse 8 makes a strong statement. In this usage, sacrifice refers to all the ceremonies of the law. Abomination means abhorrent, disgusting. The writer wanted his readers to understand that the attitude of a person's heart needed to be right when he brought his offerings to God. The Proverbs in verses 13 and 15 are both antithetical. Each line gives a contrast to the other. In verse 13, the merry heart is mentioned first, while in verse 15, the merry heart is in the second phrase. Both illustrate the same point. What a person experiences impacts how he feels, but cheerfulness will help even in bad situations. At the time these proverbs were given, a dinner of herbs meant the food of the poor. See verse 17. A stalled ox was an animal that had been specially fed and fattened and was considered the most sumptuous fare. These opposites show the benefits of love over hatred. Verse 24 has a 3-part contrast. The way, or practices, of the wise is compared by implication with the practices of a foolish person. One way is above, the other is below. Finally, life and death are contrasted. In Solomon's time, some people defrauded others by relocating a property boundary landmark. God was especially concerned about the widows, who had little defense in that culture. See verse 25. Verse 27 warns against greed and bribes. Political corruption is implied, and Solomon said it would bring sorrow. Conclusion: may God help us to speak words that give life and are good counsel to all who hear them.
Proverbs chapter 15. A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. A wholesome tongue is a tree of life, but perverseness therein is a breach in the spirit. A fool despiseth his father's instruction, but he that regardeth reproof is prudent. In the house of the righteous is much treasure, but in the revenues of the wicked is trouble. The lips of the wise disperse knowledge, but the heart of the foolish doeth not so. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, but the prayer of the upright is his delight. The way of the wicked is an abomination unto the Lord, but he loveth him that followeth after righteousness. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die. Hell and destruction are before the Lord, how much more than the hearts of the children of men? A scorner loveth not one that reproveth him, neither will he go unto the wise. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. The heart of him that hath understanding seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness. All the days of the afflicted are evil, but he that is of a merry heart hath a continual feast. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. Better is a dinner of herbs where love is, than a stalled ox and hatred therewith. A wrathful man stirreth up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeaseth strife. The way of the slothful man is as an hedge of thorns, but the way of the righteous is made plain. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish man despiseth his mother. Folly is joy to him that is destitute of wisdom, but a man of understanding walketh uprightly. Without counsel purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counsellors they are established. A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and a word spoken in due season, how good is it! The way of life is above to the wise, that he may depart from hell beneath. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. The light of the eyes rejoiceth the heart, and a good report maketh the bones fat. The ear that heareth the reproof of life abideth among the wise. He that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility.